this is Sourblow from Xbox International, and I just want to wish you guys a happy holiday and happy New Year's. This week, unfortunately, we would not have an episode. However, I did leave you with this recap video of our whole year. I know last week we went over this video and we did some commentary on top of it. However, I thought it would be nice that you guys would be able to see the video without any interruption. So, without further ado, here's the video.
Finally, we've been talking about this for over a month or so, and it's finally happening. XBI is here. It's been awesome. We got Halo a couple of weeks ago that we continue to play.
Yes.
And now here, finally, we come together to kind of sit down and just talk games and have a good time. What about you, Brian? What's up?
I'm just excited to be here. Like you said, honestly, it's been in the works for a while, and I'm just happy that we're finally getting this up and running. I'm excited to play some games with you guys more, talk games, and yeah. What about you, Sourblow?
Super excited, muy emocionado, and just happy to be here with all three of you. I feel like we all have different things to bring, and that's gonna make this show very special.
Cool. What about you, Crazy Luke?
Oh man, me? Oh, I'm the most excited of the most. I mean, I'm actually a little bit, I'm a little bit too excited because wow, our very first awesome episode right now. I mean, not an episode though, but the pilot though, and it's gonna be pretty awesome. We're gonna have some awesome discussions today. I mean, we're gonna talk about why we came together to start XBI. We are also going to talk about how we got into gaming, which is a good thing, and talk about a little bit about us. It's gonna be a pretty fun pilot episode.
Another thing we forgot is that most likely they saw and they said, "Crazy Lou's birthday. Let's get this game out of here."
Yeah.
Nah, but anyway, Crazy Lou, what's up, man? Tell us, what do you think? What do you think about this? Because of the price, people came in. People, even parents. Now that I'm, fast forward. I'm a parent now. It's just the value to get your family in the door. Or someone who I used to get customers that said, "Hey, you know what? I haven't played a console since the NES."
Well, everybody, and welcome to Xbox International. I am your host, the sexy one, the crazy one, the sexy fat version of Henry Cavill, the crazy one, Crazy Louis. Yeah. Everybody, I'm excited today.
It is already scarred. We lost
All of a
him.
sudden,
That's
I
it.
heard a message. I grabbed my cell phone and I go,
Good evening, Retro.
"Oh my
Nerd.
God." And I sent it to y'all and you were like, "Nah, that ain't you. Nah." I was like, "What?"
Welcome to Xbox International. Episode 3 of Brian the Banished. Good to see you guys this evening. So nice to have you guys here. That is awesome.
I got my Wandering Dutch shirt.
I need to get one of those.
Yeah, too bad you don't look as cool with no beard.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Crazy, but Dutch pulls it off better, bud.
This should call you should be called the beerless Dutch.
We go back to these games, and we have memories of these games as just being amazing, and all the experience about it is great. It's like if we go to Phantasmagoria, if we go back to Clive Barker's Undying, stuff like that, we have the memories of that being an amazing experience.
Crazy Lou and Mr. Joanna Dark, they think they're funny, and they like to make little jokes. So today's my payback day. So, Joanna Dark, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Thank you, Sourblow. I don't know what you're talking about.
Welcome.
Sorry to interrupt you real quick. As I said, I'm gonna have some fun today. So, unfortunately, while you started introducing yourself, I forgot I didn't put the intro of the video. So You kind of were cut off. So can you start again, please? Crazy, you're next. And you know what I'm gonna do? Since you love doing your outros, I'm gonna let you open with the outro. Can you open with your outro, please? No introduction, your outro.
I'm not gonna do it. I'm gonna pull it.
Go ahead.
To me, I'm very flattered because this is I'm the first guest on y'all show.
Yeah.
I've been lurking on it for a while since y'all launched, so thank you for the invite. I appreciate it. I'm just glad to be here and ready to talk about some games.
The more and more I think about it, and I look at the whole Activision Bliss thing, I think it was more so about King and what King is going to be able to provide on the mobile side of the spectrum. As far as the whole exclusivity thing, I can't help but think of Minecraft as the example here.
Yeah.
Because it's such a huge franchise, and the fact that you can't expect a company like Microsoft to pull the rug up from up under the people with the IP as big as Call of Duty and some of the other franchises. Now, if you read this carefully, this whole article, the thing that's released, you will notice a couple of things that weren't mentioned there, and I'll just leave it at that. Is that we already saw that on Twitter how I want to say Blizzard posted about, or Activision posted about the new title they're working on, and so it'll be interesting to hear like how that'll play out, right? Because that seems super interesting. Just the fact that we know that they're building something completely new, and we know there's no community for that, so they can't say, "Oh, this is already we got a huge fan base for this new IP." That's
right.
Hello, I'm Jasmine. So when it comes to review scores, I have few thoughts on this. One, it's not a perfect system. Like Silent Cypher said, it's not a perfect system. I liked also Jazz's discussion about review scores and how, it's not the same medium as other entertainment mediums, but yet is kind of like judged the same way, and it's not healthy for this industry in itself. Two, I think numbers, there's not enough information to go based off of a number. That you're telling me this is a 5. Well, what does that mean by it's a 5 or it's a 3? It's very subjective, and at times not as objective as it could be. And so when it's subjective, then you're subject to somebody else's opinion. And that's essentially what a review score is somebody else's opinion who gets paid to do a review of a game. I don't know all the time how they're paid. That could be an influence on it. And so like for me, I don't put any stock into Metacritic at all. None. Like I don't, even if, after a game has come out, if it's got a good review, great. If it got a bad review, okay, well, that's what somebody else thought about the game. I don't know, because unless I've played it myself, then I'm the judge of what I'm going to like and what I don't like. Now, will I take recommendations from games? Yes. But usually those recommendations come from my family, my friends, people that play in my similar circles, and that's a recommendation to play a game.
PlayStation doesn't have over $77 billion of fuck you money to go out there and buy a publisher, right? Yep. Microsoft has that amount of money. To me, we put way too much stock into Metacritic, and it obviously shows, because there are some people that are like, it's the reviewer's fault. And it's like, no, it's fine that this game is, again, a really great. It's like we're arguing over an A versus a B+. Both of them are great scores. Both of them are going to put you on the honor roll. So don't worry about it.
Casuals can't play Returnal, and casuals can't play Souls games. Like, they aren't for casuals. Those are for people that play games intensely, that have a lot of time on their hands and are very patient. That's not a family man that just sits down after work for an hour and plays a game. It's not a Souls player. It makes no sense to just charge someone for such a basic thing. And the implementations that they've done for this cross-generation upgrade that they've got in the upgrade tax that they've got isn't even worthwhile upgrades when you see them in comparison. Like, it's DualSense and 3D audio support. Both Adios and Crystal Dynamics have got nothing to prove. You've seen the capabilities with the previous Tomb Raider trilogy. Like, that thing was beautiful. It played so well. It was such a great game.
Yeah. I believe it's more like a cultural issue. So it's and not, I'm not talking about the culture of company culture. It's a cultural issue in generally speaking, in our society.
Yep.
So and it's something that we need to be conscious about, and how we behave with others, and how to treat them and respect them and treat them equally. Like, I know more than you, you're not. So it's I believe it's more like it in those areas. So it's something that the problem is also that in the technology industry, I'm not gonna talk about the video game industry, but the technology industry has been the if you see the rates of hiring males versus female, I mean, like, it has been like a trending. However, we're living in a wave where we're getting more female figures in our companies, and we need to embrace that. So those brotherhoods and behaviors that we used to have, because we were used to work with men, and I believe the world is just evolving, and we need to adapt to that, and we need to accept. Like, for example, I have a daughter. So I wouldn't like my baby girl to be subject to a horrible situation like this one.
Yep.
So and I remember that when she was born, I mean, she's 2 years old, but when she was born, and people like told me, you have a little princess. I said, like, warrior princess. She is gonna decide to be whatever she wants to be. She wants to be a warrior. That's good for her. She wants to be a princess. That's good for her. I mean, whatever it's up to her, it's gonna be up to her eventually. And I mean, like, my daughter, she plays with cars. She plays with toys. I mean, like, I don't have a differentiator, and I try to raise her like, you are not. I mean, you shouldn't be undermined by anyone in this society. And how he's strict and how he kills his. I mean, like, the shocking moments of his trauma, and how his hatred against the gods grows within him. So that's something I would like to see, because that is I believe that is essential to the character. I've never seen Kratos as a family guy. So, and actually in the last God of War, you don't see Kratos being a family guy. You see still that core element from Kratos, the original games in there. So it's something that I would like to see.
Crazy Lou. Wait.
What?
What the hell are you wearing? Are you playing PUBG? Are you playing PUBG?
Why do you want to put me on timeout though? Why?
You know what you did, and we're not going to repeat it.
What
you know exactly.
did I do, though? I just put on. We were going shredding. You guys.
Sourblow, you got him?
It's
Put him
gonna
on.
be the shredding episode.
I remember that issue. Funny, I had just moved to the United States. I happened to work at an EB Games at the time.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Depending on which, like, the motor for the PS2 kept dying, so depending on which one it happened to land on, all of a sudden the blue discs don't work anymore, or the white discs.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I remember that. The first time I remember playing any game at all, and I say this, and some people, and this is how we determine who's old school and who isn't. Chips Challenge.
Challenge.
See, who recognizes Chips Challenge here? They within Microsoft right now, right, and the current acquisitions notwithstanding, right? They have a lot of game engines under their purview. It being a very apt example, right? People and we're all varying degrees of understanding of the deep details of game development. No one person understands the full ramifications of it, because new parts and new aspects are discovered all the time. But look at id Engine, like the id Engine version that's going on right now, that's available right now, like the equivalence of POS hardware can run almost 200 frames per second on id Engine. It's the most amazing thing out there. Whereas, not to throw Yakuza under the bus or anything, but the Dragon Engine, you can have a big beast 3080 and you're barely scratching 60 frames per second.
What do you mean? I've been live for a while because I'm watching the intro right now.
No, now we're live.
What do you mean we're live?
Now we're live? Oh Lord. Oh dear Lord.
Can't shame on, whatever other people like to play. It wasn't Peppa Pig like Game of the Year or something?
Oh.
I think kind of like the starting point for a lot of people that just changed gaming forever. I used to play with my older brother, but my mom had the controller unplugged, so I thought I was playing, but I wasn't. everybody would be surprised, and the guys would come in and like, oh, you don't know anything about games, and I shut them down real quick. Oh, of course, all the time, and in competitive games too. So that always felt good. Getting the games early.
You beat them and took their money.
Oh yeah, 100%. I kind of discovered voice acting, and in the beginning, right, I just thought about it like, man, I love animation, I love video games. Wouldn't it be cool if I could, I can do that? And I think I was playing Uncharted or something, and I would just hear like Nolan North, right, and his portrayal of the character, and I was like, man, that's really good. I can do that. I want to do that.
Hey everyone, it's Silent Cypher from XBI Podcast. Just wanted to thank you guys for all the support for the last year. I can't believe we've hit the 1 year mark already. But while I have you, also want to wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year's. I hope you get to spend a lot of time with your family, but more importantly, I hope you get a lot of time playing those video games, because that backlog is not getting any smaller as we move forward. Until next year, stay safe, love you all, we'll see you soon.
I am fantastic. What is going on, dudes? Excited to hang out with you. It's a beautiful Wednesday, right? That's what day it is. Everything's blurring together, but excited to be here. It's going to be a lot of fun. What got me into gaming? Well, it all started 30 years ago. Yeah, I remember my first memory of getting into video games kind of stems from visiting my aunt's house. And I was really little, maybe 5, I want to say. And she had this poster of Hyrule from The Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past on the wall in her bedroom. And I remember just being like captivated by the bright colors. I was like, ooh, what's that? That looks cool. Freddy versus Jason, which one would actually win? It really comes down to if Jason needs to sleep. Because if Jason doesn't need to sleep and he's this weird entity that can just exist, then Freddy can't do anything. It's such a unique experience that combines basically Dragon Ball Z, like the over-the-top, flashy combat, your epic signature moves, and Magic the Gathering, like the deck building. So you go in and you customize your deck. Announce the reboot, and then shortly after, like, oh, we pretty much fired the team that was working on the reboot, so now it's just in limbo.
Her name is Ame Chassion. Did I say it right?
Chasson, almost. I wish I could be like a horror film director, but I feel like they would throw me in jail because of how fucked up my mind is. And I was like, "Excuse me, mom."
Wow.
Okay, games are not for children. And so when she was at work, parents are horrible at like hiding keys and stuff like that. Like we've all found, things that our parents were trying to hide. Parents just suck at hiding things. Get better. And so I stole her key and I would play on the console while she was out, and then I would delete my save so she didn't know that I played. And one time I fucked up and I deleted her save. We have a department, but there's departments at Ubisoft. There's people working at EA, at Xbox, Warner Brothers. It's a field that's finally really getting the respect that it deserves. Not only because it's important, but because it's something that takes a certain level of expertise. Because accessibility touches all layers and all components of a game, and we should really kind of stop to look at it as a separate sort of audience or a separate entity, because it's not. There's one thing that I often say is that disabled gamers are part of your target audiences. They're not a separate audience. Because people shouldn't choose to play a game whether it's accessible or not. They should choose a game based on their preferences. And whenever companies have a certain target demographic that they're shooting for, people in that demographic are like disabled gamers are part of that. So it's really important to make sure that everybody's considered, and that we work with the teams to make sure that we try to get all bases covered. Beyond the paper of diploma that you have, I think that what you can bring to the table in your experience is most important. One thing that I always suggest is whatever you do, whatever you study in, like in games, we're talking about games obviously, but make sure that you have passion projects, things that you work on.
I'm very apathetic about the Activision deal. It goes through, doesn't go through. I think it'll go through, but it doesn't do much for me. I actually would have preferred Microsoft moved on things like that Crystal Dynamics deal and Sega and things like that. Those are more exciting to me. I create comics. We can start with that. So I create a series called Everborn. It lives in the comic world now, but it actually started as a video game. And while working on the sequel to that game, it's on Windows Phone. If you still have a Windows Phone, you can download that today. But while working on the sequel to that game, I wanted to add more of a story, and that story sort of became what is the Everborn saga today. So, and Nintendo at the time, before Sega had overtaken them, they went from 92% market share to Sega having over 55% market share. Yes, and Namco actually sued them and lost that case. Did you know that the basis of the Sony PlayStation came from the Sega CD? Came from them looking at what Sega was doing. Embracer Group has not proven to me that with all the studios they're buying, that they've actually been able to bring back an old franchise and make it hot again.
Whether it was good or not. And then the week after that, she didn't even know what she was eating, but we just assumed it was cat food. We just assumed it was like it was so old the label done fell off of it. Oh my god! But that show gets wild on Fridays, so you can check us out there. But as for what I've been playing lately,
from the Solo, you're a big fan of Han Solo, I can imagine, right?
Nope.
No, you're not.
Nope.
What?
Gotcha. No, I am not a huge Star Wars fan at all. I'm more of a Star Trek fan than I am a Star Wars fan, to be honest. Yeah, for shame. And do I think Sony is gonna fall off a cliff? Hell no. They got so much backing behind them, and then they have this money that's gonna keep flowing in and keep coming. So they're not gonna go down at all. They're not even partially really go down, especially to most of the people's eyes within gaming that don't really care about this stuff. They're just gonna, keep thinking Sony's king, Sony's king, Sony's king.
What? Y'all think I was gonna miss out on Gotham Knights?
Hi. Thank you so much for the really nice intro.
Oh, you are so
doing
welcome.
good.
That song is horrible. Let's go. Let's transition.
Now I want to hear it.
Give us
If I wanted like some extraterrestrial life to like understand human emotion, I think I would go to one of the saddest games that I've ever played, and it's a very real game. It's called Bat Dragon Cancer. I don't know if y'all have ever heard of it. It's an independent game, and it's about a dad or a family going through the process of their child having cancer. And I think if you really want to be in touch with like human emotion and understand grief, understand love, understand what you go through in something tough like that, I think that was a very beautiful game. It wasn't just like I always knew all my life that this is what I wanted to do. Like, not at all. I wanted to be a doctor. So here I am. Way different.
Change, right?
Imagine how my parents felt when I was like, "Hey, I'm gonna go back to school to study game design." They're like, what? Our team is very diverse. Like if you were to line up pictures of everybody who works at Brass Lion, like we're 85% people of color. So we have Puerto Ricans, we have Black men and women, we have Asian men and women. We also have white men and women too, because diversity is all of us, right? So, and of course, we have other Latinos, not
Alright.
just Puerto Ricans. We have Ecuadorians. But what's really neat is that you see our team composition, and that will be reflected definitely in the world that we're building because we're making a game of a reflection of our lives, right? And like what we see and who we are. So we definitely want to make sure that that's like super important. I wish that you all could see like the behind the scenes of everything that we're working on.
Yep.
It's just like, do you want a crappy game on time or do you want a good game with a little bit more time in development?
Oh, this glass. Okay. So, guys, today's big announcement is Team Xbox International has joined the Midweek Mix-Up Collective. Yeah, we are joined the collective. We got invited to join it, and we said yes. So all right. So wait, let me get my microphone right over here and put it right here because yes, I gotta. Now, introducing from the Sauceverse, an XNC podcast, formerly known as the Nintendo Freako, the man that plays the guitar with both hands behind his back, even better than Eric Captain. Hey, Eric, if you see this, I'm just kidding, buddy, but we love you. The one and only Colts Eastwood, aka Dr. Eastwood Strange. How are you doing, sir? And what have you been playing?
Wow. How do you know the Nintendo Freako thing? I thought that was kind of very obscure. Somebody did their homework.
Where did the name? I mean, this has got me a little bit curious. Where did the name of Colt Eastwood come from?
Ooh. Okay. Yeah,
that's
this
a
is a
good
weird
question.
one. I was really into gangster rap when it was really hot. So when it was a new thing, I was really into it, and I drove a car called a Colt, and everyone in high school called me Colt. It's so bad that I'm rarely ever called my regular first name.
That was
yeah. Yes, so it would be you, Jeff Grubb, Miles Dompier, and Dealer Gaming.
Yes.
So I don't know what Jeff Grubb does musically, but Miles Dompier is like a death metal, heavy metal guitar extraordinaire. Way better guitarist than me. Dealer is a self-taught, I wouldn't even know what you'd call him. He can play the acoustic guitar like crazy. We'll play in the party chat, and he's like, I don't know how he's figuring this stuff out on his own. It's pretty amazing. Totally different. And then I'm like the classic pop rock guy. And then Jeff Grubb, I don't even know what Jeff Grubb does. I don't want a Banjo-Kazooie remaster. I want Banjo-Kazooie brand new, fully next generation, all new physics and platforming, because that old platforming doesn't feel good at all. Like it needs to be something like the platforming in Psychonauts is really great. So Double Fine, if they said we're working on the newest next generation Banjo or our version of Banjo, I would be excited. But if they're remastering an old one, it would feel like the old game, just look better.
Listen, we all know what Sony are planning to do. Jim Ryan's not made any secret of it. You know, whole slate is coming. And one by one, all of those games that sold really, really well and great games are all coming to it. It's a matter. It was only a matter of time before Spider-Man gets there.
Not my precious exclusives.
It was only a matter of time before it got there. But I think there will be some on the PC side that will not have played this game, will not have played Spider-Man, and then I think you will see quite some good sales out of it. But there will be loads that have already played it. They won't want to. I've played it on the PlayStation, and yeah, that's me done with it. I'm not one to go back.
Hey, I'm doing great. I love that intro. I love how you threw in the Carey Price thing there. I didn't expect that at all. I don't know if it's the Habs doll behind me or stuffed animal, whatever you want to call it, that gave it away. But I love the Carey Price reference there.
Talk about our beer today.
I am drinking the traditional Presidente beer, and I hope.
So this is called The Proper Glassware is an Empty Head. I don't know if you can see this.
That's a cool can.
Lovely little can.
Yeah, I am drinking. I have the can here. Drinking Innis and Gun. Nothing, not craft, not anything too crazy out there, but just one of my favorite go-to beers for the multiplayer experience for The Last of Us. Wasn't that supposed to be something they were releasing with The Last of Us 2? It was supposed to be
part of it.
And all of a sudden it's too ambitious.
Standalone. Yeah,
it's too ambitious to release with the game, so they're going to charge you what? Like, what are they going to charge you? Another $70? But I think what they did was they're like, because we know what PlayStation's doing with, they're trying to make more games as a service, live service games. I think like they said they wanted to make like 12 by 2025 or something. Yep. They just took that and they're like, we're going to rip this out from Last of Us 2. We're going to make it its own live service game so we can cash it on live service. We're going to come out here, say it's too ambitious, and then we're going to sell it to you full price or whatever they're going to do. Maybe put it into the PS Plus subscription and they get people to try to sign up for the subscription. I'm with Crazy Louie on the Texas Chainsaw Massacre coming to Game Pass. Yeah. That's awesome. Like, it's a multiplayer game. It's going to fit right into Game Pass. It's going to be a ton of fun. Valheim, I've never played. I have a bunch of buddies who play that game and they love it. So that's cool that's coming over to Game Pass as well. So I may end up checking that out just because I have some friends that play it. But I think the big highlight for me was just when Pete Hines was there talking about the Redfall and Starfield and giving us more information on everything. When he talked about, he just reiterated that Starfield's an epic RPG and that it's an RPG where you do what you want to do in the game. It's your game. It's you want to explore, you want to do the main quests, you want to just fly around and stuff. It's up to what you want to do. And I think for Starfield, when they showed that off, that's what I was expecting. That's what I was hoping. And then Pete Hines kind of confirming that stuff, I think was great. And whenever you listen to him talk, Todd Howard's awesome, right? But I feel like Pete Hines is just like, I don't know. There's something about him when he's speaking. He's just so passionate about everything. You just really like, you're listening to every word he's saying when he's talking about the games that Bethesda's working on. So I really love the Pete Hines part about the extended showcase.
What's up, everybody? It's Plume here from Plume Network. I just wanted to wish everybody a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year as we wind down 2022 and look forward to 2023. It looks like it's going to be a great year, especially in video games with so many games coming out, and there's going to be a lot to talk about. So I look forward to seeing everybody in 2023. And again, hope everyone has a safe and happy Christmas and Happy New Year's.
I think we'd rather have you singing than Crazy.
I don't know. I've sung for Colt, and Colt always tells me to shut up because his ears bleed. Now Colt, which you've had Colt Eastwood on before, he can sing. He can sing.
He can sing.
He's been in a band. He's a singer. Rand is not.
You don't use mayo, Rand.
No, mayo's one of the most disgusting things in the world.
The Rock says you should know your role and shut your mouth.
Yep.
Listen, I used to Jabroni. The Rock is going to check you right in to Jabroni Drive
Hotel. I did like victorious Nickelodeon dance. So my fat ass up there is moving around dancing to Nickelodeon dance and these other stupid Connect games because you had to do it.
Dedication. Yeah, I think it's undeniable. Once you look at the service of Game Pass and what it offers you as a customer, after a minute, you start to look at the value that you get out of it. And I think once the first party starts hitting like it should next year and beyond.
It's too bad we didn't get Crazy Louie in the shower, though. I was crossing my fingers we'd hear from him in the shower podcasting. But maybe next time.
Ladies and gentlemen, Captain Sour has turned on the subscribe button. If you haven't already subscribed, please do so. Please stow your food and beverages next to your desk, underneath your seat, or in front of you. Please take your seat and fasten your seatbelt. And also make sure that you've hit that notification bell. We gently remind you that smoking and drinking are not prohibited on this flight. However, playing the New Game Plus version of Peppa Pig is strictly prohibited. We're looking at you, Jen.
I ain't ever touching that game again. No, I don't think they should disappear for good, but I think reviewing games need to change with the times. Take over the industry? No, but I think they could be on par with something like the MCU's Marvel movies, DC movies. As long as they're done right, because throughout history, there's been some really bad video game movies.
Yeah.
I grew up with some of the worst. The Doom movie is one of them, with The Rock. And look how far he's come. He started out in bad movies like that. Sony and Nintendo, do they need to? I mean, Sony are already bringing their games to PC.
Yep.
But bringing them to other consoles, can't see that happening yet. I mean, unless they want to recuperate some of that large amount of debt that they've got.
Okay, we should have audio now.
That works. You want to do the intro? I mean, it's up to you. We'll do it again. Hello, once again. Saludos to all my Dominicans out there, and thank you for inviting me, man. I'm glad that we finally made this happen, man. Well, I can't say Phil Spencer because I'm cool with Phil, so I can't. Because if there's a person that I would love to reintroduce myself again, it's actually Bill Gates, because I met him in 01, and it was a quick, hey, let's play some games. Hey, what's up? Like, there was so much stuff going on at that moment that I really couldn't actually talk to him like how I talk with the team now. It was like a hi-bye type thing, and we got to play a couple games. But I think my pitch will be for him and any person that billionaires out there, I would love for them to invest more money into creating like schools in Dominican Republic to learn how to code and how to make games and stuff like that. Because that's something I've been really passionate now for the past couple of years. I've been trying to get more of the gaming companies to go to DR and other countries in Latin America, for them to get the opportunity to have like their own conference or free workshop, and also for the creators to create better content, while going to that event live. You get what I'm saying? So I think that will be my pitch. My grandmother bought us, our cousins, 3 Atari 2600 back in those days. I think it was like 1984, 85. It was just either, I know it was before when Nintendo got released here in the United States. He pitched it to me. He's like, Danny, can we create a book based on your true life about you? And we talked about, how you got into gaming, how you got into content creation, and let's inspire the kids that dreams do come true. And I was like, I love that message. I want to do that right away. Let's go for it. So it took us like a year to do it. But at the same time, I also want to educate the parents. I'm going to give an example. When I started with PSO Radio, I had I didn't have like a lot of people listening to the show, right? And one day I just posted it, my first episode. And I was like, I'm excited because I'm like, oh man, this is something new. I put it up. It ended up in IGN. And I never tweeted. Well, there was no tweets back then, but I never promoted it like that. Like, it was just people found me and they were like, oh man, this is a pretty cool news story. Let's share that. And they shared it. Every gaming company in the world, even publishers, they're trying to have more games available in China, because that's a market where there was a time that gaming was banned from China unless you buy games made in China. There was no PlayStation, no Nintendo, no Xbox. It's just recently, in the past couple of years, that's when they finally had access to have their console there. 343 and just Xbox in general was promoting this as like a live service, season pass. We're going to see a lot of content. And they should have planned this out a long time ago. Now I think the best thing they could do is either partner with other studios, because they've done this multiple times. There's many games for Xbox where they partner with different studios and they will work on additional content for that, because they probably don't have the manpower to create that amount of content, you know. So
Oh, what's up? I'll be hardcore sweater knitter. Yo, when I saw that tweet, I was dying. I was like, what is my man doing? He was that shit was good, man. I'm doing great. I appreciate you guys having me on. I'm excited to be on this. So yeah, let's have some fun, man. Let's talk about games. Man, I like this guy talking about Forza and Game Pass already. That's what I'm talking about. I'm gonna get right in here. Ain't no galloping in this podcast. Oh, I like that. I brought some carrots just in case. I wasn't sure what I was going to
Oh, you're talking about smacks, right?
Yes, the
Yes.
smacks. Yes. Yes. Y'all know nothing about that unless you grew up in unfortunate circumstances. But yeah, those that's probably my favorite. Yes. Hands down. It's not even close.
Yeah.
It's not even close.
Yeah, definitely.
It's not even close. Perfect Dark is a way better game.
Yeah, way better game.
It's a way better game. But then I found out that there's an actual knitting community out there.
Yep.
Like that do not play games that came after me. Okay, and they were like, "Yo,
oh really?
Yo,
I ain't knew that part.
Yo, they're like, "Yo, you don't know about yarns. You don't know about yarns like I know about yarns. Like, bro, listen. There's levels to this. Right? So I was like, okay, I'm gonna stop saying. So if you notice, I stopped saying sweater knitter for a while because they got mad. They're like, listen, we already outcasts. You're not gonna come in here and mess us up even worse, right? Regardless of what anybody else wants to say, a lot of people say you buy a PlayStation because of their exclusives and all this other stuff. And that might be what brings the needle a little bit over. But at the end of the day, the highest played games on any of these consoles are going to be the Call of Duties, the Maddens, the 2Ks, all that stuff, right? So I believe him when he sounds worried. That's what I'm getting. I'm getting that he sounds worried if this deal goes through. So there's a lot of games on Game Pass that aren't owned by Microsoft. So you could possibly make a deal where a game still comes to Game Pass, right? That's not owned by Microsoft. And if they did deals like that, I think we still win as the gamers. So I'm asking you guys, do you guys know how Game Pass works? Because it seems like every single person that knows how to gallop knows how Game Pass works, and it will tell you that it's not making any money, it's not sustainable for the developer, and all this other stuff. And to me, it's just like, well, then I realized that a game being exclusive doesn't make it great.
Yeah.
There's plenty of third-party games that are great games, that are better than first-party games, right?
Yes.
And being able to have access to the game, that's the name of the game for me now. The name of the game for me is, what do I have access to that I could play like that? And, man, like I said, Xbox is fighting a different game right now.
Thank you. That introduction was crazy. And hello to the whole chat. I hope everybody's doing great. Knowing how Coalition is, especially when it comes to Gears, we know that they like to put that to the max. So I wouldn't be surprised that they will push the system to the max, and we're going to be in awe for that game. Remember, first things first, 343 is 500 plus employees. It's not about, let me get a certain affinity and just leave all the 500. That's kind of crazy. So we're talking about 500 plus to 200 plus for a certain affinity. When Little Mac start fighting King Hippo, hit him in the gut, couldn't get up. So
just drops him and he lands woozy. He has no idea what just happened to him.
And it was like they wanted it $30 for it. Remember that? It was like $30.
Oh, they did that with several movies. They were doing that.
I think it was Black Widow also. They did it like that.
Yeah. Yep.
So that was kind of like subscription plus the 30. So it's like you gotta understand something. When you have Sony, which he said it, you have number 1 Sony. We're like number 4 or 5 if you're into the gaming space type. Literally, he said yes, you have been on top for so long, so you got this ego with you, and nobody can take you down.
Can you really take it away in Spanish?
Tu biblioteca. Yo tengo un gato en mi pantalones.
Oh, God.
¿Qué hay de nuevo?
Y se cae de nuevo. Sale ese, hey, ¿qué es lo que, mi hermano?
Bless you.
The alcohol is getting very, very into his system.
Like the blend that they're doing with the game is what has me interested, because I can understand why a lot of people be turned off, right? Hey, well, this isn't the classic Need for Speed. You're adding all this extra stuff. I just want Underground 2. I just want you to remake that game. And it's like, I can understand that, but you do have to draw in a new crowd also, right? It's not just going to be us that are trying to buy this game. You have to do something that's going to attract a younger audience, to be honest, and they like that type of shit. Sorry if I'm not allowed to cuss.
Oh, no.
They like that type of stuff. For me, I don't necessarily mind it. I think it adds on to the game because they're doing something. I always appreciate art. Shout out to Everborn Saga. I've coined this from him because he doesn't say it much anymore. Gaming is art. It should be treated as such because I do believe in that. So when you look at the art of it and how they've blended the kind of realistic physics of the vehicles and then also the anime style, because it's not quite, it reminds me of like a Cowboy Bebop mixed with Initial D. If you want competition, then let's have competition. And that's kind of been Microsoft's standpoint this entire time, because no matter how you look at it, they've never been in first place. This entire time that they've entered the gaming industry, they've never been in first place, especially when it comes to the console market and coming into people's living rooms and such.
Man, beforehand, I gotta laugh though, because I mean, look what Paul just put in the chat.
The chat
Before I go, when Steven Seagal on XBI, and I'm just laughing, like seriously, I did like Steven Seagal. Nothing about it.
Microsoft's trying to prove a point, man. They decided that Xbox is a pillar of their business, and are treating it as such, right? They're going to spend this type of money, and not only have they spent almost $100 billion in the gaming industry, but they're also looking to acquire more talent, acquire more studios. Satya said, hey, that this wasn't the end. The board members are looking for more to get invested in, because Microsoft sees the potential in this industry, right? Plan B, they going on a spree, dog. Like any small development that you can think of, it's out of here. I mean, IOI, if you need who else? Crystal Dynamics, any Square Enix, anybody that you could think of, Capcom, anybody that you could think that's small, that's not that price tag, that's not going to get looked at as the same, because literally you could not compare any of those other deals to what you're comparing right now. As much as I want cloud gaming, and it may not be for me right now, whatever the case, that doesn't mean that I don't want to get there at some point, or that I don't want our internet to get so much better to a point where everybody does have access, whether that's Starlink with Elon or whoever decides to do it, to make sure that everybody can get connected. That's really going to be the only way. And whoever's making the most investment to see that done, which right now is Microsoft, that's who's going to be kind of behind that or ahead of that curve. So.
Okay. Well, if it's Phil Spencer sitting next to me, I'd probably just go, "Oh my God, it's Phil Spencer right next to me." We freak out for the first minute and a half, and then go into, "Oh, hello. It's me, Viste's Geek. I am the Xbox MVP for Australia and New Zealand. I'm also that girl in Australia who constantly just screams Xbox this, Xbox that, and shows off controllers. You might see." Every week I've got a new controller. That's me. In the region that I live in, if we're just looking at Australia and New Zealand, I personally feel that a lot more can be done across all three brands. Each of them do things differently, but at the same time, it's not enough. I personally feel that there's just so many creators, core creators for Xbox, for PlayStation, and for Nintendo. But what I'm seeing is more about giving the biggest creators the opportunities and using the smaller creators as almost a launch pad into doing some sort of grassroots kind of work. Most anticipated game? I don't think I have one for next year, to be honest. Like I try not to buy into getting excited about new games because I tend to get very excited and then it gets delayed and I'm like, oh, okay. So I've learned now to just not get super excited about upcoming games and I'll just wait till there's like actual confirmation. I'm also a collector as well, so I'll wait until like there's a collector's edition and they show off all the different bits and pieces. So yeah, I don't really have one for 2023. I actually worked for Crunchyroll.
Oh, nice.
Back a year and a bit ago for about 2 years. So I actually worked on Demon Slayer. So yeah,
wow.
big anime fan, and I'm very lucky that I got to work on anime as well. So yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I feel like if I do it and I play it on stream, I need to have like a heart rate monitor, and you'll just see like it going like that. It's a very grim sounding game, but Death Note is a great anime, and I feel like it would translate into a really interesting action adventure game if done right, and adding in a bit of like the murder mystery kind of thriller aspect in there as well. Yeah, I don't know. It just feels like that's a kind of game that probably hasn't really come out in the anime genre yet, so I'd like to see them try.
And here I am again, Sourblow, wishing you again happy holidays, happy new year. I know this is something that normally Crazy Lou would do. He loves ending the show. But he is pretty busy right now. He just got married. Congratulations, Crazy Lou. And as he would say to end the show, let's go. Let's rock and let's get crazy. Goodbye. See you next year.